It'll be recorded. Okay. We are the second. 3. Let's see if we got you. Yes. You're on.
Schools and correction facilities. We have a partnership with the Missouri Department of Corrections and the Kansas Department of Corrections. These are women that are incarcerated, and you may think whatever you think about, us helping them, but they are still yet human beings and deserve the right to have items of dignity. As a matter of fact, we all deserve the right to have items of dignity. And in my opinion, they should be free, but that's a whole nother conversation. So please support the Giving Hope and Help 9th annual period products drive, all things period. This is what we're collecting: regular and organic period products, pads, tampons, diva cups, reusable pads, individually wrapped feminine wipes, individually wrapped panty liners, packaged and women's children's underwear, packaged women's and children's underwear, sizes all the way up to 5X for women. So please support us however you can. You can find more information at givinghopeandhelp.org, givinghopeandhelp.org. And shout out to all of the nonprofits out there that are doing the thing to make a difference in the community. Giving Tuesday is coming up this month. It's November the 30th. It is actually Giving Hope and Help's 8th birthday. We launched on November the 30th, 2013 to support domestic violence shelter Hope House. And we're here 9 drives later. We're here. And so we're asking the community to support nonprofits on Giving Tuesday with a donation of $5 or more. You can make that donation to Giving Hope and Help and other nonprofits of your choice. If you don't have any funds, you can do something nice for a neighbor. Give, give, give. That's what it's all about. Giving Tuesday is about giving to your neighbor, to a friend, to nonprofits. It's the global day of giving. So please support us on that. So now, Miss April. Oh, and if you have any nonprofit organization news that you want me to share, please shoot it to me and I'll be happy to share that with the community. We're on the first and third Sunday of the month, the first and third Sunday of the month here at KUAW.org. Jessica Lynn speaks live from 5 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right, Miss April Boyd.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, Miss April.
Hello.
I am so excited.
I'm excited to be here as well.
Well, let me let you introduce yourself.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'll give you a preface. I'll give everyone a preface. Miss April has just made history as the first Black ever to be elected into Shawnee Mission West School Board. Shawnee Mission West School Board. So Miss April, tell us who you are. Tell us what your mission is. Just tell us about you. Tell us your story.
Oh, wow.
Tell us how you feel. Just talk to us.
Right. The one question I keep getting from a lot of people is how do you feel? Or, what are you doing? Is it literally before coming on, I was picking up yard signs from people that had supported me. So it never ends. Earlier today, I was actually fortunate to attend the Kansas Association of School Boards event that they're actually holding in Overland Park. So I was actually had that unique opportunity to kind of tip my toe and kind of immerse myself into what my next 4 years of my world will look like.
Wow.
So exciting. A bit overwhelming. I think probably all of the candidates can say that. I saw a couple of candidates that ran and also made history in their respective school boards. I did a head nod to Rachel Henderson, shouting out from KCK. So we did a little, yes, sister. And we saw each other today. And so still feeling the love and the support and getting the kudos. And I'm resting in that realm right now. I'm soaking it in because people are always telling me, enjoy this moment. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. The unique thing about at least our board for Johnson County is that I won't start officially my 4-year term until January. So of course I'm doing a little traveling right now because I've been here focused on the city for the past few months, but that's a unique perspective that for any other potential future board member candidates that you have that little break, I guess you can call it. You don't actually start until January of the next year after you win your seat. But a little bit about me. I started the question. A little bit about me. Yes. Both of my parents are retired educators. My father taught at Sumner Academy, retired there. So on the Kansas side, a lot of people know me as Coach Carter's daughter. My mother taught in multiple schools from K-12, starting with Delacy Lamb when I was probably the age to go to Delacy Lamb. And she retired from the Kansas City Public Schools as a reading specialist. So throughout my campaign, the recurring question was, why are you running? Why are you doing this? Education is all I know. So I have an innate, natural love, respect, and honor for education and educators, especially for public education and those teachers within that realm. One of my fondest memories is, for those of you that know, the Blue Ridge Mall and Bannister Mall in the day, where my mother and I would be at the mall, and we'd hear from the other side of the mall or behind us or what have you, Miss Boyd. And I knew that was one of my mother's teachers, one of my mother's former students. And what was even more and it's just so much more rich now that I'm on the school board, is that many times over the years, she would see students and their children. And I'm sure my mother can probably share the story where she taught 2 generations in the Kansas City Public Schools. So that is what is the essence of, at the very core of, why did I run? I've seen it, I've lived it, and I honor that awesome responsibility of teachers and educators and support staffs and just anyone who is authentically part of that equation, including school board members and superintendents, and helping our kids get to that next level.
That is so awesome. And it's carrying on the legacy of education. We share so much commonality with that alone. And one of the additional reasons that I'm so excited for you is because Shawnee my family has a huge history in Shawnee. And actually February the 21st, I believe, was declared McCallop Family Day of 2021. Yes. So it will be McCallop Family Day moving forward because of the efforts of my grandfather, my great-grandfather, starting the McCallop Bus Company, the first bus company, school bus company in Shawnee, and that was started around 1935. And they took students from Johnson County, lived in Johnson County,
Right.
but my great-grandfather, his children, who was my grandfather, could not go to school in Johnson County because of the color of their skin. Just let that sink in, right? And so he started, driving students on his flatbed, ended up with a fleet of 14 buses to take students from Johnson County to Wyandotte County to the very same school that you already mentioned, which is Sumner Academy, Wyandotte, Schlegel, J.C. Harmon, those schools. And they ended up bringing school children over to your high school, Lincoln Prep. Yeah. Then it was Lincoln High School. Right. So they ended up driving students on the Missouri side as well. And so the legacy of education, it just runs through you, it runs through me. And it's a beautiful thing to see you carrying on your parents' legacy with education. Our program is Education is Your Passport. You know about it. You've been there. And just the name of it alone, it means so much to me for you to be sitting on this board. It means so much. It is opening many doors for us. Diversity matters, representation matters. We all know that matters, but we're all not in this country walking that walk. And so for you to break, it's glass everywhere, April. I mean, you have literally broken.
Yes.
You have broken the glass ceiling, and I'm so excited for it. And I lift you up, in your endeavors. I know it's not till January. Rest up, because I know that it's not going to be all glamorous. You're going to have a job to do. And speaking of that, is there anything that you're thinking deeply about, when January comes? Do you have any anxiety about anything with you being the first in the Shawnee Mission West District?
It's anxiety is not the word. I'm trying to think. At this particular time, it is a little overwhelming. I am thankful that the majority of the persons that are still in the conversation or within this ecosystem are pretty overjoyed as well. I know that, I did secure 3,900 votes, which was 55% of the West district or that area. And I mean, that, not saying that that was not a feat, it was, but I take that with me. And so whenever concerns and things are brought to the school board, I'll remember that. I'll remember that
they voted you in to represent them.
Exactly. One of the things that, when I ran, there were two incumbents. So Mary Sinclair and Heather Owsley, and they would always say that to remember that each of the board members is one of 7 voices that comprise the school board. And what kind of got mixed in the shuffle was that some other candidates were saying, well, when I get in, I'll do this. And I already was a bit clear of, well, yes, you do represent your area that's voting for you, but you still are part of the full equation of that one of 7. And so a collaborative effort is critical to making sure that we continue the academic excellence that we have already. And so I look forward to bringing my diverse views, perspectives, lived experiences to the table, literally, to the table, to continue that academic excellence. And it's going to take a lot of collaborative effort. Now, some people already know that I lead or help lead the XR Safety Initiative, XRSI, as their global diversity and inclusion advisor. So I'm used to collaborating on not only on a local, but a global level on creating standards, developing processes and procedures that can be put in place and be authentically engaged and worked on and implemented, which is why I'm also eager to work on the plan that is in place, the strategic plan that the school district heard and actively asked for engagement and input from the district, from the parents, from the staff, from everyone that had a voice. They sought it. And so now we have our strategic plan. And so one of the other core components that I look forward to working on is helping to implement that. The people have spoken just like they spoke in this election. And so there is, therefore, the blueprint. So I'm very eager to start working from those two perspectives. Equally, if not more important, that strategic plan that was put into place prior to me, but now that I'm here, I'm really excited about pushing that forward as it was, brought to fruition from the community.
Wow. April, you have a big job, and not only are you doing so much for the community, but you're also a mother of 3 and a professor. Tell us a little bit about that life.
Yes. So, yes, I do have 3 children. 2 currently are in the district. My oldest daughter is 23, and she is a cybersecurity major and just kind of tinkering with IT, networking. But all 3 of my children are on a STEM track. I was very adamant and very intentional with that. Wow, maybe about 15, 20 years ago when I saw that, okay, STEM, IT, tech, cybersecurity is the next wave. So my youngest daughter will be a student at JCCC. So I must pause, you know where I'm going with this, and give a super shout out to Dawn Rattan.
Yes.
I always butcher her last name, for the JCCC trustee. So she broke that barrier also, or that glass ceiling, not necessarily a barrier.
Yes.
The glass ceiling there at the higher ed realm. So a lot happened this November 2nd, and we're proud about it.
I am so excited. Congratulations to Don, to Rachel, to you, to Amber Sellers. Shout out to Amber Sellers, Lawrence City Commission.
Yes.
I am just wow.
Yeah.
You know, this is amazing. This is amazing. It's truly amazing. Not just because of the title, but because of, like I'm saying, you know, the glass ceiling that's been broken, getting a seat at the table to have your voice heard, because you represent us. You know how when you are the only one in your company, you know, it's like, I've been the only one in my company many times, and it's like, I represent all Black people to them.
The epitome of, yeah, I understand.
Because they may not know any, and some of them have, you know, told me, I don't know any other Black people. So they're asking me all these different questions. And so that is the importance of having a seat at the table to represent who we are. We are here. We're not going anywhere. And so I'm just so grateful and thankful that you had the courage. See, because it took courage for you to run.
It did. And then to add to that, Jessica, as well, it's the awareness of the depth and breadth of different cultures and different people and different lived experiences. That and that process of representing that is important and critical as well. And I must not stop without giving a shout out to my son as well. Parent of 3. So my son is on a STEM track as far as avionics, and he competitively flies drones. So I have a drone pilot, an aspiring engineer, and an aspiring cyber analyst or tech, IT tech analyst in the household. So, you know, when I talk about the role of parents, and one of the things that one of the other pillars on my platform was collaborative efforts with families and parents, and determining how best to collaborate with them, engage them, empower them, because they have a unique voice as well. And so that also is one of the platforms that I hope to bring to the table. And I'm not the only board member that has children in the district. However, that is yet another diverse and unique perspective to bring to the board.
I am so excited for what you're going to bring to the board. I've seen many comments, and many people are saying you're going to do great. I mean, you were created for this. Is just natural progression of your career. Talk to us a little bit. Yes, talk to us a little bit about your career at St. Mary's.
Right. So I currently am a professor at the University of St. Mary in Leavenworth. We have 2 campuses. Leavenworth was our main campus. Then we have a second campus. Actually, we have 3. We have a second campus in Overland Park. And then our third campus, we have we awarded or the state has now allowed us to return to the Lansing Correctional Facility to teach courses there. So we have 3 campuses where we have a strong presence, where we're helping traditional, non-traditional students get across that stage as well. So I will probably work also with Don with just looking at the parameters for the Johnson County area with education too in the higher ed level. But I'm excited to be the new program director of their cybersecurity program, as well as teach cybersecurity there. So I'm excited about that role. I've taught at USM for 4 years. I started with their health information management program, and we're kind of phasing that out, unfortunately. But I've always had that undercurrent of cybersecurity or computer information systems. I've always taught at least 1 or 2 courses throughout the year in that program. So as we shifted, most of my teaching now is within the CIS or the cybersecurity area. So I'm excited about that. Anywhere you go, whatever you look at, whatever industry, cybersecurity is somewhere more or less impacting that industry. So I'm excited about being, represented as an African-American female in that realm where we're not seen a lot, and just helping students even just consider, can I have a career in IT and tech and cyber? Yes, you can. And so I'm happy to be that beacon or that voice for students that may have not ever considered that.
Wow. Just amazing. Just an amazing field. It takes me back to, I left corporate America in 2017, and I was an EMR trainer for Cerner and the Department of Defense project with training officers in the Navy and in the Army and in the Air Force, training them, and we had to take cybersecurity, exams, and boy, I tell you, that's definitely the wave of the future with cybersecurity. It's like you said, it's the new wave. I mean, it's where we're going. Everything is going to be. I'd like to know your thoughts on what I think about this, and I think money is eventually going to go away, paper money. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and I'm not a guru in those arenas, but yes, and once again, it is going to be a fusion, or we've already seen a intersection between those two as well. When you go abroad, a lot of organizations or countries are even looking at totally going to the token or cryptocurrency form of money and exchange. It is inevitable, and the unique thing about whatever stage or whatever level we're going to be at, there's going to be a learning curve. And so that is why when I look at my role at the school board, when I look at the role that both of my parents served for 30 plus years, education and learning and awareness is not going anywhere. The key thing for it to be most effective is to make sure that level of communication is there. Equally, if not important, there has to be a sustainable level of trust baked within that framework as well. Because I can offer you anything, anytime, 24/7. But if you don't trust the fact of what I'm selling, or if you don't trust that I believe that the importance of this is important to you as well, or your world or your environment, then it's for naught. So open communication is always, always important. And how do we do that? By inviting diverse voices, persons, and lived experiences to the very table when those decisions are being made and or determining how best to implement it. Have to have diverse voices, lived experiences at the table to express that.
That is so good. And that leads me into my next question for you. What are some of your main roles and responsibilities as a board member?
While we were running, we would get asked that question, not as much, but we would. And I had to pause and really think about, okay, what do and don't We do, because for the general public, they may not understand what the role primarily is. But primarily, we are the one that our 7 voices, and in our case, Shawnee, the 7 voices that hold the superintendent accountable. So whatever needs to go through the superintendent, or that the superintendent intends to start from their role, we are that critical foundational component that ensures that it is fair, that it is equitable, that it is sustainable, that it is ethical. Whatever the process that's being presented, or whatever instance that has occurred. So that is the role that we serve. We don't serve as the watchdog component to get someone fired or to do something on this wild tangent. There are intentionally checks and balances in place to make sure that what we are considering, that whether it's mandates or not, or whatever that comes before us, that we, the 7 voices, can have a fair representation, or a fair due process to go through, whether it's an instance, an initiative, something mandated down from the health officials or what have you. It is never just one voice. However, the school board president does serve as the face or the one voice, but it's collectively, from what we've discussed before, that school board releases what the final decision is. So a lot of times it may look like the school board is doing what the president rather is doing what they want to do, when all in actuality, those 7 voices have collectively decided this is the best way to go. And then it is relayed to the general public by the president.
And that just makes sense. Like you said, the president's just the face, but you guys are the backbone of the whole program and strategic plan. And it all goes through process. Yes, the embodiment goes through the process. And that's the importance of, like you said, having the voices, having the 7 voices. And with that being said, now I stated that you made history as the first African-American or Black woman or Black person for the Shawnee Mission West School Board. Have there been, or are there any Asian descent or Hispanic Latina, to your knowledge, at this point?
Yeah. And to my knowledge, at this point, there have not been any others of Asian or Latina, Latinx descendant that I know of. I mean, we're currently talking about the fact that we want to make sure that, the history, whether it's local or global or what have you, is all inclusive, that it is factual, that it is truthful. And so that'll be another area or realm that I'm sure that we'll see not only just our school board, but many school boards continue the discussion on what does that look like, and how are we going to present it across the board in a fair, equitable, and ethical way, because it's a part of our history.
I think that's awesome. And it's so important for us to make a change, and for Black lives and Asian lives and Latinx lives to matter. We all need a seat at the table. And so I know that you're the first African-American at this point, but I just see in the future that that's where we're going, because the door has been opened, the ceiling has been broken, and you're opening up doors for many more. And I'm just so excited about it. During your race, when you were running, and you ran a very good race, I loved your promotions, and I loved seeing your name and Don's name in Johnson County when I was over there. And it's just so awesome, the support that you had. Was there ever a time in your race where you said, you know what, and I want you to be real transparent, and I know you will, because oftentimes when we do something that we're called to do, it's not easy. And we oftentimes want to say, you know what, I'm going to not do this. I'm going to quit and I'm going to be free from this. Did you ever feel that way? And what made you keep going, if so?
I'll say this. Prior to going in, my significant other and I, we had to have a come to Jesus.
I love it. I love
We
it.
did.
I love it.
And he was like, whatever you decide, I got you. And I'm like, oh, great, you know.
So
But
I can't quit.
Right. But I understood what he was saying. And as I was campaigning with other current already, you know, because I'm seeking the advice from those that are there already, not necessarily a school board, but those that are there, a politician, because I'm a politician. Just to even say that initially, I was like, I'm a politician.
Yeah,
But anyway,
so good.
well, yeah, but it's on a whole different level of living. And so, but yes, early on, my honey and I were like, are we going to do this? And we prayed about it, and we talked about it. And then the Shawnee Mission Post scooped us and announced it before we could announce it. So I was like, I guess I'm running.
Wow.
And it's fine. It's fine. And that's just the nature of, you know, they scooped us, and it is what it is. But then that then forced me to really have to, and my team really have to, you know, tighten things up and get ready and move forward. And so that kind of was the beginning. And I thought, dear Lord Jesus, please don't let the rest of this campaign be like that, where you're surprised or, you know, things happen and it challenges you to move forward quicker than you thought. But, and you all, we know this, that nothing more is given to us than we can handle. And so we, you know, throughout the course, I took my breaths and I thought and meditated and like, okay, Lord, you have placed me in this. It feels right. The timing seems to be right. I'm getting great feedback. And so I thought we're going to do this. And so we hunkered down, and that's what we did. And, you know, the late night hours of the prepping and coaching from my campaign manager and things of that sort. And that we made it happen. We made it happen. And don't ever think that it was just me. Of course, like I kind of said about the school board president, they're the face. So, you know, every time you saw me at a panel or speaking to this, you know, you saw April Boyd Nerona, but there were so many people in the background that made it happen. And so that's crucial. And finding the right people that stay with you till the end. Because I lost some people along the way and at some critical times. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're just going to have to do it. We have to pivot. And so it's a lot of pivoting, but it's a lot of centering. I really had to keep centered because, you know, there are attacks and there are, you know, misinformation, a lot was out there. And so you have to really be centered. And that was the key role for my significant other, Milton Jeffrey. And people say, you know, other candidates that were in previous races say that all the time. It's like, you know, if you have a significant other, they're in it with you. They won't ever see them, most likely. They might even not know who they are, but they're in it to win it alongside with you. So you have to already have that core. Those that you bring in have to be in alignment with you. And then if they're not, if they flake out at the end or what have you, it's going to be what it is. You're committed, not to Team April. You're committed to the cause.
Good.
And that's it. So, you know, it's not that simple, but if you come in with that mindset, regardless of what may happen, people leave, people don't, you know, abide by the commitments or what have you. But at its core being, you're in it for the schools, the children, students, and staff.
That's it. That's the bottom line. You have to know.
Right.
I've always taught my kids, know your why.
Wow.
Whenever you're doing anything, know your why. Why are you here? If she made you upset or she said something the wrong way in the meeting and you leave out and you say, I'm not dealing with it anymore, then you really weren't for the cause.
Right. Right.
You have to be for the cause. And so you have to have tough skin. What spiritual, what spiritual avenues, how did your spiritual life and relationship with Christ play a role in your running?
You know, the one thing that always centers me, you know, I don't know where it is, if it's biblical or not, but, you know, to listen for that still small voice, because while you're running, it's a busy time and there are a lot of people and things being said. And then just there's a shift in the quietness of your life. You're more public, right? And, kind of privately, I've shared with you, I am not a glam person to the least. I don't, the makeup and all, and the image is like, oh, MG. I'm not that type of person. So that, on the funny side, was a challenge for me too, to have to, okay, I can't just leave the house in my sneakers, while you're a campaign. But a lot of people forget that I was a parent, still am. I, throughout the race and even, beyond, I'm a professor. I, care about my community. And so all the while already being that, on top of now being a political candidate. But my life doesn't stop. I still was teaching classes every day in Leavenworth, right?
Wow.
And even Wednesday, November 3rd, where was I? Teaching on campus, advising students. Life doesn't stop.
Did you get any feedback from your students on November 3rd?
Well, here's the deal. So, so you have different hats that you wear. So I did not publicly, because when I'm on campus, it's like when you're at home. When you're at home, you're mom. You're not political candidate April Boyd Nerona. So I try and keep those relatively separate. So when I'm on campus, I'm Professor Boyd Nerona. When I'm out in the public, or when I do start my term in January, there will be times where I will be school board member, Shawnee Mission West, April Boyd Nerona. Even now, what was interesting, I'll share this, is so beginning of the school year, you have the meet the parent night. And so, of course, I go meet all of my son's teachers, and it's all kosher. Just like, okay, fine. This is, my mom. Here she is. Let's have the conversation. How's my son doing? But when I had parent-teacher conference, I kind of noticed a difference in how I was addressed, or just, the comments were, I noticed a difference. And
in a positive way?
It wasn't positive nor negative, but there was a difference. And I understood, because prior to, I still was a candidate, but it was different. I think because people now had more, had probably seen more of who I was. I didn't walk into, when I did during the Meet the Parent, I didn't walk in saying I'm April Boyd Nerona candidate for, I didn't proceed any conversation with that. If it came up, it came up. Or, if there was a concern shared that related to the teachers or what have you, then I may pipe up and say, well, I am running, just so you know. But so, those are some things. The day after, honestly, I was more, and concern's not the right word, but I was more, I wanted to be more aware of if my son would experience anything different, because he is in the schools day in and day out. So if anything, it was, did anybody say anything? I'm more concerned with him and his engagement with his peers or teachers of that sort. Not necessarily in a negative way, but just kind of told him, mommy now is officially on November 3rd. Kind of got to remind you, mommy now is officially, we're done campaigning. This is official. So I haven't really noticed a grave change, whether I'm on campus in Leavenworth or in the community. The change has been that people are glad that I did win my seat. So
that is so awesome. Let me ask you, and it just left my mind. Did your son, did he receive any negative or anything? Did he receive anything and come home with anything? Everything was pretty much status quo.
He did. Well, like back in our day or what have you, school board, we knew that position was important, right? But it wasn't in the forefront as it was at this time and age. So for the kids in the schools, like, okay, I think maybe a couple of them asked, is that your mom? Because our last name is unique, Nerona. So that probably was the most, if anything, that people would ask, is that your mom? Or now that people know my face, they'll do a double take, and I'm like,
because he looks just like you to me, but anyway.
Yeah. But I'm getting like more double takes when people see me and things of that sort. But overall, I mean, like I said, I don't officially start until January. So probably even more, it will increase then.
Who inspired you to run for office?
Wow. I would have to say it is very core my parents, because I saw day in and day out the commitment, just the sheer will and grit and resilience that they even showed as teachers / parents while I was growing up. And so, like I said, when people ask me, I would say it's all I know, it's all I've heard, it's all I've experienced as a child growing up. And, you know, I'd probably say one of the catalysts was, once again, my role with the XRSI, working on standards and industry-wide processes and policies, just kind of triggered a higher level of thinking or desire to do more. And so I hope to easily transfer, it's not that it's going to be easy to do, but the concept of implementing and creating sustainable processes and standards on a wide level. So that probably was now that I think about it, probably the catalyst more so than anything. And then I told Brad Stratton on the board, and I don't know if few people will probably remember this, but he announced that he was not going to run again.
I remember that.
Yes, mm-hmm. and I just happened. I know it was God, but I was watching the news that night when he made that announcement, and I literally did one of those, is he talking to me? Kind of moments. Right. And because I stopped, and I was like, okay. And so I just kind of tucked it, I was like, Lord, that's not on my radar, not even thinking about doing that. And it just pricked my spirit. And I'm like, Spirit was like, he was talking to you. And I'm like, no, he was not.
I'm not trying to pick that up.
Like, he was talking to you. And then, the seat came open, and then I started to, not investigating, but just seeing, what is the role? What would it look like? What would it entail? Because, I'm already a parent and professor. So I'm like, I didn't necessarily want to add another P as a politician to the list. But as we know, when God speaks or opens that door, provides that opportunity, you have to move forward and be in alignment. And so I did, and here I am. So little pieces of the puzzle here and there, my honey and I being in agreement of, we're going to do this, we're going to do it to win. And so a lot of little puzzles. So there wasn't a necessary grand aha moment besides Brad announcing that. But from then on, I was like, this is going to be a faith walk. And it has been, and it still is today. But it was really a faith walk.
Well, I love that, April. And it makes me think that from your childhood to now, like I said, it's a natural progression for your career. I mean, you were built for this. You were being groomed as a child of two educators, to walk in this lane and to teach and to empower and to inspire and to be the first. And so I'm just so excited about it. Talk to me about your thoughts about what's next and how you will possibly intentionally inspire, directly inspire the next African-American or person of color to run. So have you thought about how you may intentionally inspire and ask others to run of color, as well as what your vision farther down the road after the 4 years looks like?
Right. No, I haven't thought about it, because I'm still in this moment here of just like, wow, I did it with a fabulous team, with fabulous support from friends, family, and the community that they got out and did what was needed to do. So we all had a part in it. One other thing that really drove me throughout the campaign was the district has as their slogan or phrase that diversity is our strength. And so that really, championed me to they're saying it. Now they need to see it, or we or the community needs to see it.
Right.
And a lot of the voters, a lot of my supporters dug down and they believed it as well. And here I am, 55% of the vote, 3,900 voters later, they did that. And so a second term or slogan that really championed me on was that representation matters. And, you know, you can take it on the surface, but when you dig deeper, each of us, regardless of your lived experience, regardless of your race, gender, age, can go to a point where representation matters. Where when if you were able to look up and see another female doing that thing, or another person of color knocking it out the park, or whatever it was, or someone that was your age that inspires you, or someone older or younger that inspired you, just having that opportunity to do that, to see someone. But in my case, there wasn't. And I will be remiss if I did not mention, excuse me, Virginia Sewing. And I'm not sure if you're going to ask that. But that lady has been a trailblazer for many, 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 many years in this very area. And within education. And so I cannot not leave the show without giving kudos for her for being a trailblazer in education, in workforce development. So, you know, we talk about, and I don't personally know her, but I will get to know her more. We did have 2 in-depth conversations during my campaign, though, and I was just like, I am sitting at your bosom. I was like, oh, Miss Virginia, please tell me, because that's a depth of history and experience that needs to be told, needs to be shared and passed down. I was able to talk to her kind of later towards my campaign. And once again, that just further instilled within me, I can do this. And the importance and the impact of that. I did. And the importance and impact that it has to be done. This is the acceptable time.
As Virginia poured into you, and you sat at Virginia's bosom, that's kind of what I was going to, the next person that will sit at your bosom.
Right.
You will be paying it forward to someone. That is powerful. That is powerful. And that's what we as a community and as leaders and as people that have succeed in our industries and fields, we need to lift and pull others up with us. Who is going to be your successor? Who is going to be the next, you know, superintendent? That could be a person of color. And so that was kind of like, I was wondering if your vision is even that big. If you ever desire to be the superintendent of the district.
Oh, wow. Do you see the look of surprise on my face? Have not considered that. I just want to really set a strong standard as a role model for the first board member of color in the West District, to set that standard and set the bar high.
Well, because you did that already when you were voted in. Those of us that know you, that's a check mark already. So that's why I'm already at superintendent.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'm what's next, April? Because we already know that once you were voted in, you're going to do well. Donna's going to do well. Amber's going to do well. I've not had the pleasure of meeting Rachel, but I'm excited for her as well. You know, I'm excited that the KCK has an African-American man mayor.
Right.
And so I'm just excited about it because it's past time. And one thing that I've been saying to myself, I'm so excited. I'm sharing it on social media. So excited for you all, but it's also heartbreaking as well. It's also heartbreaking as well because wow. Not that long ago, April. Not that long ago. Mm-hmm. You know, my father started driving the bus with the McKellar Bus Company in Shawnee at 16.
Oh, wow.
He's 77.
Mm.
And he's still alive to tell the
Yes.
story.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, wow, we were fighting just to even go to school in Johnson County
Right.
just a few years ago.
Right. Right.
So when you look at that time frame and that timeline, it's like, wow.
That's true.
We're headed in the right direction.
Right. Right.
It's bittersweet as well that there has been so much division, and so that's changing.
Yes.
And it's going to continue to change.
Right.
As long as we continue to vote in people that have the character and integrity and belief in representation and equality and equity that you have. And so my hat goes all the way off to you. I am here to support you however I can. Man.
Yeah. That's pretty much where my mind is now. Well, and a couple of God is goods in there.
Absolutely. He is amazing.
Yes.
He's amazing. He's blessed you to do this.
Right.
And I spoke to girls yesterday, and one of the things that I said is you can do it. It doesn't matter. I actually said,
where you are now,
what you've been through. It doesn't matter what you've been through. When I say I don't care, I do care, but I don't let it be a hindrance.
Define you. Yes.
Exactly.
You know, I came across in the briefing, I know we have to probably wrap it up. I came across,
we have about 9 more minutes, so we're good.
Okay. I wish I had the book here, but the Ursula Burns, she has been, oh my goodness, someone that I've just followed from afar. The first Black CEO of Xerox. She has just written a memoir of her journey. And so I'm looking forward to cracking that book open. I just ordered it, cracking that open. But her title is, it references where you are now is not who you are, something like that. So she talks about coming from living in, not the best conditions, and the journey from transitioning from little to no hope to the highest level in corporate America. And staying true to who she was, never forgetting or sidestepping the fact that I'm who I am. And so
you don't have to compromise that.
Yes. Yes.
And you don't have to, I'm going here, but I will. You don't have to straighten your hair to fit in, and you got the seat now. You don't have to wear the makeup every day if you don't want to.
Well, no.
I know, because I'm a makeup girl, and my husband says, only you feel like you need that. He says, only you feel like you need that. You don't need that. But it's just something I like. I said, for me, makeup is an accessory.
Yeah.
It's like earrings and necklace. I love that. And so it's just, and today I was just saying before we started, I don't have on any eyeliner, true transparent moment. I'm drawing attention to my eyes, which is not good.
Right.
But I don't have eyeliner on. It's like, I never do a show. I think this is the first, Mr. Walker, or KUAW, that I've ever done a show without eyeliner on or mascara. And it's like, you know what? It's okay. Some days you're not going to always be on. Right?
Right. Right. But the mission is still there, nevertheless.
The mission is still there. Yes. And so, wow. So her name is Ursula Burns, and she is the CEO of Xerox.
Former, but she was the first African-American
CEO of Xerox.
Yes.
So we will need to check that book out. I'll need to put that book on the Black, Brown, and White Unite for Change page.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because one thing about changing the mindset is we have to communicate. And we have to, in order for our voices to be heard, people need to be educated on other cultures.
Right. Educated correctly. Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I'm not for sure, but I would surmise that would come up in board meetings that you're going to soon be attending next year in 2022. I'm seeing the books are being banned in different libraries. And these are all African-American writers. And so these types of things are important for education. It's important for people to learn who they are, and not everybody is like them.
Right.
You know?
And that's the beauty of it. Mhm.
That's the beauty of the voice of having you have a seat. That just makes me even more elated. I believe that the millennials today, April, a lot of them they're pushing that, and it's time for people to be educated on other people and represent and accept and know that all of us matter,
Yeah.
and especially the lives that have never mattered.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always say that it's typically the Black lives have never mattered, in Latinx and Latino, Black, brown, and white. Need to unite for change, and your position is headed in that direction. That represents all of that. It's so much bigger than you and I.
Right. You know, one thing I do have to say too is that along the way through this journey, I did pick up some fabulous allies, and you know, I was running with two incumbents. And so they have, you know, even during the campaign and now after, will continue to be my ally in my own journey. Yes, we'll all be board members, but my journey will look, feel, and be different from theirs. So I have to give a shout out to those two, Mary Sinclair and Heather Owsley, who were running there with me, running their campaigns with me as well. And thank God we all three won. So, like I said, you know, allyship is good. Rachel and I did the nod today while we were while we were actually at the Kansas Association of School Boards conference today, and it was a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful thing to have that allyship with those women, those Absolutely. That look like me and those that are my allies. So I look forward to showing that, and then just being the epitome of that in the community. That's and awesome. While sitting on the board. Yes. Again,
natural progression, gifted, anointed to walk this path. Hats off to you. I love it. I love that story. It's a great way to end that. The allies. We need that. We need that. That's awesome. So last question. When will you start grooming the next person?
Oh, you know, just in the same way when I was raised and when I asked the question, just to get a basic understanding and awareness of whatever that next thing was, and that person was ready and willing to give me the time and mentor me and, you know, sponsor me. When that time comes, I'll be there as well.
Like you were speaking with Miss Virginia. I love it.
Yes.
Paying it forward. I love it.
Yes.
April, it has been everything having you on here this evening. I'm excited. I'm elated. I'm just happy to know you personally as a friend, as a sister, as a woman of God, as a mother. Yeah, I'm proud of you, sis. I'm very, very, very proud of you. Keep going. Keep going. And I know it's not going to always be easy, but I will keep you covered in prayer.
Exactly.
I will keep you covered. I will keep you lifted. And that's what we need. We need that. We need people to pray for us. And you got it. You got it. You got it. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
For sure.
Philippians 4:13. Thank you, April, for being here. Listen, Kansas City, World Wide Web, all the different platforms you may be tuned in from now or later. That's the beauty of the World Wide Web. We never know. Someone may be watching this at 2 a.m. You never know. Someone may be inspired to run for the student council president. Who knows? I'm grateful for this moment in time. You've been tuned in to KUAW, Kansas City's global radio station with Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. We'll be back on the 21st of this month. We thank you. We ask God to bless you and have a great night. Be blessed.